have been wanting to film this video for quite some time already, but I have been waiting for a response. The person who wrote the comment said that they will respond to my question, but they haven't yet. He hasn't yet. But that's okay because I will film this video right now and we can still talk about it. But I personally respect people who keep their words. Under one of my videos that I uploaded, this person commented. You can go to that video and you will see the comment, but for this video I will blur out their name. If the person who wrote the comments we are discussing in this video today, if you are here as well, I encourage you to stay until the end and to listen to what I'm saying with an open mind, with an open heart, because nobody benefits from being small-minded. And I think you seem to have some level of self-awareness, therefore I will approach this in a kind way, but still in a firm way. And I want all of us here to have an open mind, an open heart, and I want all of us to look at this issue from a human perspective, not from a man's perspective or a woman's perspective. No, instead I want all of us to look at this from a human's perspective. Let's go. Let's have a valuable discussion. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Okay. I don't know exactly what your culture is like and how things are historically and traditionally viewed in your country. I don't know if you will read my comment, but these are some of my thoughts. Sorry it's long. Well, of course I read your comment, and I read every part of your comment because thank you for the comment. Thank you for this input. It feels like you are framing it the wrong way. Sitting like a lady isn't about women making themselves small or taking up less space, being insignificant and unimportant. It's about carrying yourself with grace, dignity, refinement, and femininity. Femininity is a woman's greatest strength. A woman can be loud, crude, aggressive, and take up all the space in the room if she wants to. She has every right to, but that doesn't make those qualities attractive. Okay, let's talk about this part first. I pulled out a Word document and I wrote down all the things. Everything I will say here is from a human perspective, okay? Human to human. I find it interesting that the comment writer seems to be so sure about what a woman's greatest strength is. He says that a woman's greatest strength is her femininity. Well, I mean, why are you so sure? Because I don't know what your greatest strength is. I don't know what your greatest strength is. I don't know what your greatest strength is. I don't know. And I also don't know what that woman's greatest strength is. And she doesn't know what my greatest strength is. The point is, how do you know? How would you know? Are you a woman? Don't you think that's weird? Because I'm not going to assume that I know someone's greatest strength. Because I don't know. They know themselves the best. Whatever a woman views as her greatest strength is completely up to the woman herself. It's completely up to her. What a man views as his greatest strength is completely up to him. And every man is different, every woman is different, every human is different. They know themselves best. Do you want to be the one deciding what your greatest strength is? Or do you want another person to decide that for you? So I guess you might want to be the one deciding that for yourself as well. Furthermore, regardless of whether you are a woman or a man, every human should have basic manners. Every person I respect has basic manners. That includes not being aggressive, not being rude, not being disrespectful to strangers or whoever, and it also includes not disturbing other people, for example, on public transport. Because if you are on public transport, you are not out here yelling, because you don't want to disturb other people. And if you are there yourself, you would not want other people to be yelling, because that would be disturbing you and you probably want your peace when you are on public transport. That is basic manners. Do you think that every human should have basic manners regardless whether they are a man or a woman? Because I think so. And I'm sure that many people here think so as well. The point is, having basic manners is not about being feminine, it's not about being ladylike, it's not about being masculine, it's about being a civilized human. Because we are not here living under rocks. We are not here living in caves. I, for example, have unsubscribed from these masculine, feminine boxes. And I encourage you and everyone here to unsubscribe from these boxes as well because they don't benefit you. They are like, why are you forcing yourself into boxes? I am not forcing myself into these boxes, and I will not. And I encourage you to unsubscribe from these boxes as well. Forcing yourself into these masculine, feminine boxes is optional. You don't have to. You can be free. You can live freely without forcing yourself into these boxes, without forcing other people into these boxes. For example, I prefer to live freely. I prefer to be the one determining my own life. I prefer to be the one to tell myself what my greatest strength is. I prefer freedom over these boxes. If you prefer freedom over forcing yourself into these boxes as well, then I highly recommend unsubscribing from them. Everybody here, I encourage you all to live freely without harming anyone, without forcing anyone into boxes. And most importantly, without forcing yourself into these boxes. But that doesn't make those qualities attractive. Okay, attractive to whom? Attractive to whom? Why should women care about being attractive? Why should women worry about being attractive? 24/7, every day, every year, every decade. Why? That sounds exhausting, right? That sounds exhausting. Everybody, do you want to worry about being attractive 24/7? Do you want to worry about whether or not you are masculine enough, feminine enough, attractive enough 24/7? Every day, every year, every decade. I don't. I don't want to worry about that. That sounds exhausting. That sounds absolutely exhausting. The person who wrote this comment, I think you agree that worrying about whether or not you're attractive is exhausting. Even if you're a man, okay? It's exhausting for women and for men. So let's not make life more exhausting. If you want to seek validation, seek it from yourself. Don't seek external validation. External validation will not make you happy. Everybody here, including the person who wrote this comment, do you want to live peacefully? Do you want to simply exist, simply live in peace? I want to exist in peace. I want to live in peace. And I think everybody here wants to just be able to exist peacefully, live peacefully. And this goes for women, men. Everybody wants to live peacefully, exist peacefully, without being forced into these boxes. Do you want to constantly worry about whether or not you are feminine enough? Whether or not you are carrying yourself with grace? I don't. I just want to live peacefully as a human. I just want to exist peacefully as a human. And I think you want to exist peacefully as a human too, regardless of whether you are a man or a woman or whoever. Again, I will say this multiple times. I encourage everybody here to unsubscribe from these feminine, masculine boxes, these gender role boxes. Let's move forward. Our culture has forgotten what it means to be feminine. Anyone can be crude, crass, loud, unkempt, and unmannerly. Those qualities aren't rare or admirable. What has become rare is a woman who is gentle, ladylike, polite, refined, and dignified. Those qualities reflect self-respect, and they have always been deeply admired. Good character is one of the rarest qualities there is. Having basic manners has nothing to do with being feminine, ladylike, masculine, or whatever. Having basic manners, being hygienic, is for every human. And I hope every human has basic manners and is hygienic. What is also very important is to treat other people in ways you yourself wish to be treated if you were in the same situation. For example, would you want to shake hands with people who don't wash their hands? No, I don't want that. I don't want to. Therefore, be hygienic yourself. Wash your hands. Okay? because other people don't want to shake people's hands who don't wash their hands. Practice good hygiene. It's about being a clean human. No one wants to be around people who are aggressive, right? You don't want to be around people who are aggressive. I don't want to either. Not being aggressive is for everybody. It's not just for a woman. Women are humans. Men are humans. So let's have basic manners. Let's be humans, free from these boxes. You know what self-respect means? People who have self-respect give their own ideas a chance. People who respect themselves ask themselves what they really want, free from all of these boxes. They ask themselves, what do I want? How do I want to live this life? How do I want to spend my time on this planet? These people don't force other people into boxes. People who have self-respect don't force themselves into boxes that restrict them. Don't force themselves into boxes that are not good for them, that limit their potential. Having public awareness, having good manners, practicing proper hygiene are things that every human should do. We as humans should care more about creating a safe environment. Creating an environment that is safe, peaceful, clean for every human to live in, to coexist in. Having basic manners, practicing proper hygiene is a human thing, not a gender thing. The same is true for men. A man who refuses responsibility, won't provide for his family, runs from hardship, or starts crying after a hard day at work like a girl isn't a man at all. That would be repulsive. No one should abandon their family, unless the family is toxic, abusive, or horrible. And again, every human should take responsibility for their actions. Everyone in the family should be responsible. They all should be there for one another. They should protect one another and help one another when there's danger to the best ability that they can. You would be mad at the irresponsible men who leave their wives and their babies and their children. Leaving your significant other, leaving your children, and have your significant other raise the children by herself? That is an example of someone who is not responsible. Let's talk about danger. It has nothing to do with whether or not you are a woman or a man. For example, if you are spending time with your mom and there's danger, what would you do? Your first instinct would be to protect her. Because why? Because you love your mom, because you care about your mom. And her first instinct would be to protect you, because you are her child, and she loves you. Even if you are an adult, she will still try to protect you because you are still her child. Even if you are stronger than her. For example, if you are spending time with your dad and there's danger, his first instinct would be to protect you because you are his child. Even if you are an adult, even if you are stronger than him, and your instinct would probably be to protect him because he's your dad and you love him, and especially if you are stronger than him. So it is not about whether you are a man or a woman. I would do the same for my parents, for my loved ones, because I love my loved ones. Taking care of each other, being there for each other is a human thing. Society has told us that crying is weak. But it is not. It is not. Crying like a girl. Why? My voice was disappearing a little bit, so I was like, okay, let me take a break. But now I'm back. Crying like a girl. Why not cry like a human? People say cry like a girl. People say this to insult other people. But that is so disrespectful to girls. Why don't you say cry like a human? Everybody here, including the comment writer, if you are a human, I encourage you to cry. I encourage you to allow yourself to cry. Like, I wrote this down and I will just read it to you. If you are human, I encourage you to allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to let your emotions run freely in the form of tears, including anger. Yes, anger is an emotion. Crying is not repulsive at all. People say, don't cry like a girl. Sir, are you okay? Genuinely, are you alright? Crying is not repulsive. It is not weak. This does sound personal. If anyone in your life has told you not to cry, if you have been told that crying is repulsive, tell them. Tell them that no. We all know that crying is a normal human response to emotions. It is not repulsive. It is not weak. It is normal. It is harmless. It doesn't harm anyone physically. So cry instead of punching a wall or whatever. If they say crying is weak, tell them for you. If somebody tells you you are a man, don't cry, tell them no. If you don't want to cry, don't cry. But I will cry if I want to cry. Because it's a normal human response to emotions. It is not weak. It is not. If somebody is out here judging you for crying, tell them, bro, you are a human. This is so sad because I can't even be mad at this. This is so sad. To the person who wrote this comment, crying is not repulsive. I promise. It is very normal. I used to bottle up my emotions. I used to not let myself cry. But then I changed because I realized that bottling up your emotions is unhealthy. It's not good for you. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. It is unhealthy. So I'm like, okay, no. So I gave myself the space to cry. So I gave my emotions space without judgment. I allowed myself to cry as much as I wanted to, as much as I felt like it, as often as I wanted to. And I encourage you to do the same. It is absolutely normal. I even wrote down an example. So listen up. For example, during exam seasons or when I'm in the process of writing multiple term papers, I experience stress because of the deadlines, and sometimes I feel like crying. And guess what? I allow myself to cry as much as I want to in that moment. And I always feel better after that. If you say, okay, it's different for you because you are a woman, you can cry. Okay, who is stopping you though? Who is stopping you? I'm not stopping you. I encourage you to cry. Crying actually helps. Don't stop yourself. Okay, don't stop yourself. It is actually unhealthy. I want you to be healthy. If you have been told not to cry and instead told to bottle up your emotions, I'm sorry you had to experience that. Whoever told you that probably got it from somebody else. You know how society is. So yeah, unfortunately, my voice is trying to disappear again. Most importantly, you are not harming anyone physically when you cry. So crying is harmless. The best way to move on from things is to cry. Start crying after a hard day at work, like a girl. Okay. I mean, if you had a hard day at work, cry. Cry it out. Don't bottle it up. Because if I have a hard day, I cry. I don't bottle it up. And I will judge no one for crying. Okay? I rather judge people who bottle up their emotions because they think that crying is weak. If there are people in your life who tell you that don't cry, don't cry, even though you had a hard day, and they still are like, don't cry, bro, do you really want to be around such people? Bottling up your emotions is optional, and it's also useless. Unsubscribe from these. Do this to be feminine, do this to be masculine, gender roles, blah blah blah. No, unsubscribe from these boxes. I promise you, you will be happier. You will feel free. Who cares? Do you care? I don't care. All I care about is whether or not you have empathy, whether or not you practice self-awareness, self-reflection. All I care about is whether or not you have basic manners. It is very unattractive when a man acts emotional, indecisive, weak, fearful, and refuses to step up to the plate and handle life like a man. Please unsubscribe from these boxes. Men and women each historically had qualities that were respected because they complemented one another. Society has always expected things of men, but the respect women once received wasn't simply because men were told to act a certain way. It was because women valued being women and men valued women for being feminine. It sounds like you have been through a lot. Do you really want to worry about whether or not you are attractive all the time? Because that sounds exhausting. Wow, I think you should care more about existing, living peacefully instead of forcing yourself into these boxes. Instead of forcing other people into these boxes. It was because women valued being women and men valued women for being feminine. What does being a woman mean? This is very interesting because you seem to know a lot about what being a woman means. And you seem to know a lot about what being feminine means. What is it? Having basic manners? Is having basic manners feminine? Is having basic manners masculine? Or is having basic manners just a human thing? Because I think it is. Everybody, I highly recommend unsubscribing from these masculine feminine boxes, okay? Including the comment writer. And I'm very happy that I have unsubscribed from these. Considering the fact that women are humans and being a woman is being a human. Treat people in ways you yourself wish to be treated if you were in the same situation. I feel like my voice is disappearing, so let's move on. That's why men held doors, stood when a woman entered the room, offered their seat, carried heavy things, walked her home at night, paid for dates, opened the car door, or stepped into danger to keep his girl safe, or worked the hardest jobs to provide for his family. Those were not meaningless traditions or forced obligations. They were expressions of love and respect. Women expected to be treated like ladies because they respected and viewed themselves as ladies. Men gladly treated them that way because they believed women were something precious to protect, honor, and cherish. Men will go to the end of the earth for a woman like that. Holding doors open instead of letting it hit somebody else in the face sounds like a good thing. If I see that someone is walking behind me, I will hold the door open so it doesn't hit that person in the face. And I hope you do the same. Treat other people in ways you yourself wish to be treated. Because you don't want the door to slam into your face, do you? It really is about being a decent human. When I see elderly people, elderly men, elderly women, I will stand up and offer them my seat. If I see a pregnant woman, I will stand up and give her my seat. If I see a pregnant man, I will stand up and give him my seat. Why? Because I see that these people need the seat more than I do. And I'd rather be the one falling down than having them take the risk of falling down. If the bus driver hits the brakes and I fall, it's still better than having a pregnant woman fall or having an elderly woman, elderly man fall. I'd rather be the one taking the fall. It is a human thing to do. Walking a woman home at night? Okay, what is the reason? Is it to protect her? Exactly, it's to protect her. But to protect her from whom? It's to protect her from other men. Everybody knows that it's safer for men at night than it is for a woman. Unfortunately, we live in a world where women have to be cautious, especially at night, in order not to be kidnapped, raped, or unalived. That is a sad world we live in. And men definitely don't have the same fear to the same extent. Men might be afraid too. Are you afraid of robbers? But they might be more afraid of robbers than of rapists. Are men more afraid of female robbers or of male robbers? For example, if I know that it is safer for me at night than it is for the person next to me, then of course I will walk that person home. Of course I will drive that person home. I will make sure that that person arrives home safely because I know that that person is more at risk than me. It is being a good human. I saw this comment on Instagram the other day and I will read it to you. Okay, let me pull up this comment. Of course, women don't hate all men when they say this, but the fact that it's so hard to know an abusive man from an ally is kinda the point of this saying. For the fellas, the message is hard but simple. Stand up and stand out, and receiving this message with compassion rather than retaliation is a good start. Thank you. Exactly. If you are not part of these disgusting men who violate women, I encourage you to stand up and stand out. Speak up. Hold these disgusting men accountable. If it was the other way around, if we lived in a world where if the number of crimes committed against women all over the world were committed against men, if we live in that world, I would stand up and stand out. I would be like, okay, no, I'm not part of these disgusting people. I am not. So I will hold them accountable. If I hear someone says these crazy, disgusting things, I will call them out because I don't tolerate that. Exactly. If you are not one of these disgusting men, I encourage you to stand up and stand out. There's no reason to be defensive if you are not part of these disgusting men. Clearly distance yourself from these disgusting people. Every human with empathy is absolutely disgusted, absolutely alarmed by these atrocities committed against women, such as burning them back in the days, femicides, rapes, and more. Millions of women are still being oppressed today. Just look at Afghanistan. Everybody here, if you have empathy, you will find this sad. You will be alarmed by these crimes. You will be alarmed by these atrocities committed against women. You will be alarmed by these atrocities committed against fellow humans. Because women are humans too. This is so sad. I saw a reel the other day.
Do you guys ever just imagine if people were seriously suggesting that we take away men's right to vote right now? And what if that was in a system where we literally never had a male president? And in that system, the UN declared that violence against boys and men is the most pervasive human rights violation in the world. So, in response to that, we had to have a bunch of battered men shelters, which were consistently underfunded. And when they did report that they had been abused, we just say that they're lying. And also, the current female president definitely abused men and boys, but it was not a big enough deal to not elect her. Also, she was really good friends with this billionaire Jenny, and Jenny had a trafficking ring for boys, and the female president was like definitely a part of that with all the other billionaires because 95% of the billionaires in the world are women. Women own like 98% of the world's wealth and land. Also, God is a woman, and her daughter saved everyone, and her 12 best friends wrote it all down. And that book says that men should stay home and serve women. So there's this really big push right now on social media for trad husbands because too many men are just like pursuing careers and they're not focused enough on fatherhood. So in response to that, the female politicians took away men's reproductive rights, which has definitely resulted in the male mortality rate skyrocketing. So we've just gutted most of the funding and research on that to help keep that just like hush hush. That's the situation. But the worst part of it all is that women are kind of lonely right now.
The bodies of several missing men were found stuffed into trash bags in a local woman's basement after police women responded to reports of screaming from the woman's house. Prosecutors are expected to charge the woman with improper waste disposal and violating a local noise ordinance.
Hey, baby, stand up straighter for me. You look better taller. Where are you going? Got any money in your wallet? Bet your body would fit in my crawl space. Nice.
An all-female jury has acquitted a woman accused of murdering her third husband in just 2 years. Sources say President Baba Yaga has invited the woman, who many in the press are now calling the Black Widow, to the White House to celebrate her latest latest courtroom victory. A judge has sentenced a teenage girl to 20 hours of community service after she was found guilty of pushing a 17-year-old man into oncoming traffic for rejecting her invitation to prom. Judge Aileen Mornos was quoted as saying, "I see no reason to ruin a young girl's life over one little mistake." Congresswoman Julia Tefana has proposed a bill that would create additional barriers for male victims of violent crime to press charges against female perpetrators. The Prove It Act would require male victims to provide police women with video evidence, testimony from a minimum of 3 female witnesses to the crime, and a sworn and notarized admission of guilt from alleged perpetrator before a case could move forward. Critics wonder if this bill goes far enough to protect women from false allegations.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm just calling because we're missing a permission slip for your son to attend a workshop educating boys on the dangers of going out alone after dark, especially in a way that might attract unwanted female attention. Can you be sure to send that in with him tomorrow?
Did you call my wife?
What, and interrupt her work day? I'm sure she's very busy with something important. That's why we called you.
Ridiculous, right? If you flip the script, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. But guess what? This is the reality for so many women, so many girls worldwide. Everybody here, if you are still not alarmed, if you are still not disgusted by these crimes, by these actions, by these atrocities committed against women, committed against girls, I don't know if you have empathy or not. Because everybody with empathy, everybody with a heart, sees that this is not okay. This is not okay. Women are humans too. Girls are humans too. You are your own person. I am my own person. Every woman is her own person. Every girl is her own person. Just like how every man is his own person. Every boy is his own person. Therefore, women should be able to live life however she wants to without being forced into these boxes. And if you are a man, you can live your life free from these boxes too. You don't have to force yourself into these boxes. And you don't have to force other people into these boxes. Especially if you're a man, I hope that you call out pedophiles. I hope you call out these predators. Back to the comment writer, you have the freedom to choose your profession. You have the freedom to choose the field you want to work in. Working hard alone is exhausting, so I highly recommend to work hard and smart. It's about creating a balance. I hope you have chosen a job that you enjoy, and if you don't enjoy your current job, I hope that you will find one that you enjoy. Do you know what expresses love and respect the most? It's to create a world where your loved ones can exist peacefully. If you love a woman, respect a woman's autonomy instead of forcing her into a box. If you truly love someone, you will want them to be free. If you love someone, you will want them to live their lives to the fullest. You will want them to go after their goals, their dreams. If you truly love and respect someone, you will want them to live their lives to the fullest without forcing them into a box. And you will let them be the one deciding what their strength is. You will let them choose the things they want for themselves in this life. That is what truly loving someone, respecting someone is to want them to be happy and to want them to define their own happiness instead of forcing your own happiness onto them. Is a woman a something or is she a someone? Language is a big part of the world we live in, and therefore I encourage you to question the language you use here and there. And yes, it is that deep. Is a woman a something or is she a someone? Women are humans too. They deserve to have the safety and the space to determine their own lives, to choose what they want, and to live, exist freely, safely, peacefully. Treat others in ways you yourself wish to be treated. Mutual respect has disappeared because women have lost sight of what it means to be feminine. And women hate men for treating them like a lady. We are told these gestures are unwanted, toxic, and offensive. I have been screamed at simply because I held the door open for a woman. I hope you spoke up and stood up for yourself, because this is very rude. Because screaming at people is rude. So I hope you spoke up. I hope you told her that it is very rude of her to scream at you for no valid reason. If something like this happens again, speak up, because you did not deserve to be screamed at. Call them out for their rude behavior, for their disrespectful behavior. Call these people out just like how you would call out pedophiles, predators, people who say racist, misogynistic things. Call all of these disrespectful, rude people out. Women have a deep longing to be cherished and loved. Men want nothing more than to have something to love, cherish, protect, and provide for. But women, because of feminist movement, have done everything in their power to reject anything that men do. They tell men that they have no place in society, they are unwanted, they are toxic. Women then try to play the role of a man, but are finding that they are unhappy, unfulfilled, lonely, and disillusioned. Do you have a deep longing to be loved, cherished? If you want to have something to love, cherish, provide for, protect, consider getting a pet. Consider getting dogs, cats, cute pets. Give them a peaceful life. But if you want someone to love, I highly recommend respecting their autonomy. I have asked you twice what you think the feminist movement is about and what feminism is about. You said that you will respond, but you haven't yet. I still highly recommend unsubscribing from these masculine feminine boxes. Are they unhappy or are you unhappy? Are they lonely or are they alone? Are they lonely or are you lonely? Like, do you know that there's a difference between lonely and alone? Being in a relationship is optional. You should not be forced to be in relationships that you don't want to be in. This includes friendships, romantic relationships, and so on. I really encourage you to question the role of a man and the role of a woman. Question these gender roles. I highly recommend. Feminism is the main reason why America has so many unhappy women. Women have more rights, higher paying jobs, more access to opportunities than they have ever had before. At the same time, they are more miserable, more depressed, more unhappy, more unfulfilled than they have ever been in history. Women are on antidepressants at a higher rate than it's ever been. What is the source for the antidepressant part? You did not share with me what your understanding of feminism is. I would have loved to hear what your understanding of feminism is. You want to have access to opportunities yourself, right? So it's good that women have access to opportunities. It's good that women have rights. Human rights. Why should anybody be offended by someone having human rights? How do you know that they are more miserable, that they are more depressed, more unhappy, more unfulfilled than they have ever been in history? How would you know that? This is so weird. Even if they are more miserable, more depressed, more unhappy, more unfulfilled, then I encourage you to ask why. Why? Is it because of them having human rights? Or is it because of the patriarchy? Is it because of misogyny? Is it because of the state of the economy? Is it because of these gender roles? Is it perhaps because they are being forced into these boxes? Having human rights does not make anybody unhappy. Are you miserable, depressed, unhappy, unfulfilled because you have human rights? Or is it because you are forcing yourself into these masculine boxes? Last one. It is the feminist movement that is destroying women's happiness, not men. These boss babes are realizing that in an attempt to find happiness, they have rejected every chance that they had at being truly fulfilled. A loving husband, a stable home, and a family. In conclusion, go ahead, be loud, be angry, take up space, and hate men. Be the man that's easy. A virtuous woman full of grace and character, that's worth more than pure gold. I would invest in gold. Starting a family is optional. Okay, if you want to, go ahead. If you don't want to, don't. It is completely optional. If having a loving husband, a stable home, and a family is your definition of being truly fulfilled, go for it. Go for it. Good for you. The point is, every human has a different definition of what being truly fulfilled means. So therefore, let's not force our definition of being truly fulfilled onto other people, because everybody has their own definition of what being truly fulfilled means. Angry, going back to the two reels, I mean, why are you not angry? Why are you not angry? Considering the violence against innocent people, considering the state of this world, considering the rising grocery prices, injustice, why are you not angry? You can take up space harmlessly. You don't have to shove people to the side. You don't have to push them to the side. You can take up space harmlessly. Why do you want to make yourself unnecessarily small? Why do you want to shrink yourself? Why do you want to sacrifice your well-being by shrinking yourself? I encourage everybody to take up space harmlessly. I wish everybody the best, and I highly recommend unsubscribing from these masculine, feminine boxes, gender role boxes. I encourage everyone to look up what feminism means and to look at multiple sources, literature, dictionaries, okay? No podcast bros, because podcast bros are insecure people. I encourage you to distance yourself from them because you deserve better. You deserve way better. You deserve to live a happy life and not a miserable one. I'm going to show you a few. I will link everything that I have shown you in this video in the description. Feminism is good for everyone, okay? Feminism is good for men, it's good for women. Let's take a look at this. If you are a man, patriarchy hurts you too. Do you know the reason why some men think that crying is weak? It's because of the patriarchal system and society that we live in. They are telling you that it's weak, even though it's not. Crying is a normal human response to emotions. This is just one small example. For example, who has to go to war? It is expected of men to go to war. Who sends men to war? It's other men. Other men send men to the front lines, okay? The patriarchy hurts men too, okay? If you're a man, the patriarchy hurts you too. Open your eyes, open your mind, open your heart.